Hello YouTube! So you want to be fit and healthy? I have some tips for you that come from my own experience as well as research I have done. Please note I am not a health professional, so take this advice with a grain of salt. Okay, so the first thing I'll suggest is to take a moment and think about your eating habits. You can probably think of a few things you eat or drink on a regular basis that are not so good for you. My advice is to pick at least 2 things you consume on a regular basis that are bad for you and cut them out of your diet right away. Simply stop buying them, and if they are available, don't eat them and don't drink them. I personally used to drink between 2 and 3 cans of Coca-Cola per day. It was a disgusting habit, and one day I decided to quit. It was a shock to my system, but once I adjusted, I noticed a big difference in my energy levels. I then actually switched to sugary juices, but have since quit those too, and now, with the exception of tea, coffee, and alcoholic beverages, I drink nothing but pure water. Not only has it made my diet much healthier, but it has saved me quite a bit of money as well. The next thing you should do is commit to walking for 40 minutes, 4 days out of every week. You could do more strenuous activity if you prefer, and for longer or more often, but as a bare minimum, you should be getting 40 minutes of activity outside of what you get in your normal routine. I suggest picking a spot that is a 20-minute walk away, perhaps a store or a park, and then walking there and back. This doesn't take up much of your time really, and besides giving you exercise, it should give you time to think and relax and perhaps even run an errand or two. The reason I'm suggesting walking rather than jogging or anything else is that often people will start jogging or running and will quit after a short time because they find it too physically demanding and don't see any progress in their stamina or their weight. Walking is something that pretty much everyone can do. I suggest setting a brisk pace so you build up a bit of a sweat, but don't overwork yourself, especially at first. So once you've started doing those 2 basic things, you can start looking more closely at your diet. And by that I mean what you choose to eat, not the latest fad going around. Dieting, since it is temporary by definition, is never going to work as a long-term solution. So, one good rule is to make sure that whenever possible, every single meal has at least 1 vegetable serving. Here on the screen are some of my personal favorites, and if anyone is interested, in the comments I can give detailed instructions on how to cook each of them, but a good general rule of thumb is to just boil them in salted water or fry them up with some butter and garlic. If you don't like a particular vegetable, try a different one until you find some that you like. And then try not to eat the same one every meal because different vegetables give you different health benefits. If such things interest you, you can do some research on what benefits each of them has. And in the same vein, figure out what fruits you like and try to replace some of your regular snacks with fruits instead. Even the sweetest berry is likely to be more healthy than whatever processed snack you're eating now. The next thing I'm going to suggest may actually surprise you, but I recommend eating lots of fatty meat, butter, and eggs. This comes with a caveat though. Only do this if you're also doing the 40 minutes of walking 4 days a week at a minimum. There's a myth out there that fat is bad for you, but in reality it's only certain fats that are bad for you, and things like vegetable oils are far worse than bacon fat. My standard breakfast is a fatty cut of beef or pork like bacon, thrown in a frying pan with some kale, spinach, or red cabbage, and then a couple of eggs fried in the animal fat. It's delicious and full of protein and energy-producing fats that set me up perfectly for the day. Be careful though, if you don't use that energy with physical activity, it's not necessarily going to be very good for you. Another trick I like to do is I buy the full-fat ground beef, which is generally cheaper than the lean variety. I cook it in a frying pan, then drain the fat into a jar. Later, I can use that fat instead of cooking oil for making other meals and for any deep frying I want to do. The point is it doesn't have to cost more money to eat healthy food, especially if you're preparing it yourself. Beyond that, I'd advise figuring out ways to make the things you consume the most more healthy. For me, that means when I drink coffee, I never put sugar or cream in it. And when I eat chocolate, if I have a choice, it's dark chocolate, which is actually good for you. Eating healthy is not about depriving yourself of things. It's about finding things you like that also happen to be healthy. Everyone has different tastes, so you'll have to figure this out for yourself. If you're not sure about a type of food, Google search it and read a few of the results and find out if it's healthy or not. As a last point about food, it may be common sense, but portion control is important. Try to avoid eating so much that you feel bloated afterward. And if you do happen to eat that much, take that as a sign that you need to up your physical activity in the near future. So, with the diet advice out of the way, if at some point you feel ready for more physical activity, there are a number of exercises that can be done without even ever leaving your bedroom. These include push-ups, dips, squats, planks, jumping jacks, and burpees, among others. YouTube is full of exercises that you can do on your own at home for $0. There's no need to spend money on a gym membership unless you really want to have access to those facilities. Swimming, for example, is one very good full body workout I would highly recommend if you can afford it. A free full body exercise that can be equally good is yoga. If you've never tried it, trust me, it's harder than it looks. There are plenty of instructional videos here on YouTube. Most are marketed at women and often use some new age terminology, but the methods are usually sound and will help to improve your overall fitness. Other simple things you can do are boxing, shadow boxing, or real boxing, depending on your situation, or just dancing or jumping around in the privacy of your bedroom. Pretty much anything that gets you moving is better than nothing. The last tip I will give you if you are serious about getting fit and healthy is to not tell anyone. Research on motivation has shown that the mere act of telling someone that you're going to start exercising or losing weight will actually make you less likely to do it. That's because when you tell people, they usually congratulate you or tell you, "That's great!" This makes you feel good about yourself, which can actually be a bad thing because usually the reason you want to get healthy in the first place is because you're unhappy with the way your body currently looks and feels. Having someone congratulate you for trying to make life changes can actually hurt that motivation. So, don't tell anyone about your weight loss efforts or your fitness training until after your new habits are so set in stone that it doesn't even take any motivation to do them anymore. The one exception is if you have one person who you know with certainty will hold you to your goals and positively motivate you to achieve them, you can tell that person. Otherwise, keep it a secret for as long as you can. If you're making changes to your body and your habits, it should be for you first and foremost. You're the one that has to live with you, and your body is the only one you have. If you take care of your body and do some of these basic things I have suggested, I can pretty much guarantee you'll notice a difference in your energy levels, your mood, and your appearance. So thank you for listening, and please leave comments about this below. Especially, I'd like to hear from those of you who have lost weight or gone from flabby to fit, and I want you to share what methods have worked for you. And as always, be sure to like, dislike, subscribe, or share as you see fit, and I wish you all the best.